time as any to catch you guys up on what's been going on. I haven't posted anything in months at this point. I don't even remember when the last video was that I posted. But this is what's been going on. One big one, I switched jobs again. After leaving a fab shop after almost 20 years, being sort of part owner thing, business buyout thing that was going on, left that, went into machining. I spent a little over a year there, and I figured that's where I was going to retire from. I was not enjoying it, but also wasn't looking for anything else. It's just, that was my job. I picked it. I thought I could, blend into that environment. It wasn't for me. I hated going to work, but I was doing it, and something landed in my lap. Through Instagram, I got a message from a shop that does a lot of really cool stuff, asking if I was looking for a machining job with them. And I said I'd be a fool to not at least entertain the idea, thinking maybe I'd have something to do in the evenings after work, get back to kind of what I enjoy doing with like fabrication and welding and whatever. I went and interviewed, and it turned into a full-blown offer I couldn't refuse. So I, after a little over a year and 3 months, whatever, I left the machine shop job that I had, that I thought I was going to retire from, and I made a leap of faith, and I now work at a hot rod shop, helping build parts for customs, exotics, hot rods, race cars, everything. Got my own little, machine shop area where I'm making parts and fixing stuff and modifying things, and I don't put cars together. I help make all the little things modified, whatever, to fit to work so they can put the cars together. So I'm welding and fabbing and machining and making all kinds of cool stuff all day, and it's kind of life changing when you kind of fall into something you weren't looking for. But enough of the job talk. I'm doing something new, but that plays into why I haven't been making videos a lot. It's just my old job at the machine shop was mentally wearing me out. I didn't want to do anything. I wasn't working on motorcycle stuff like I wanted to. Money was tight. Just not a lot of personal life happiness going on. And I feel like now I got that back, and I'm doing things I really miss doing. It's fun. But enough with the personal life, job stuff, shit going on. This is what's been going on with the bikes lately. So, it's no secret that at the end of last year, I was just, all last year I was wrecking motors, hurting shit. Part of it was that, if you go back and watch some of the videos, that oiling system issue that I figured out that cost me some spun bearings and a junk crank and a junk set of rods and whatever. Finally got that sorted out, only to kind of have a pretty major meltdown at the end of the year, where it was basically the last pass of the year, where it barked a flame out backside of the cases. It torched a hole through the top of the cylinders. It just scored the bottom of the cylinder head a little bit, but that's fixable. But those cases ended up being junk. One piston ended up being junk. I have a spare piston. Everything else was salvageable, so I needed cases and like I said, a piston. So this is where the things have taken a turn for the time-consuming worst. I needed cases. I have a set of cases sitting there, good set of cases. They're not what I was led to believe they were, but I'll use them anyways at some point. Everything I run is the 01 to 04 stuff, 73 millimeter bore. Stock bore, I don't do nothing fancy. I went to pick those up thinking they were good cases. Well, they are good cases, thinking they were good usable set. They're 05, 06, so they're wrong bore size. Can't use them for what I'm trying to do with all of those parts over there. I'm trying to scab a motor together out of everything I have that's kind of the best of the good used parts that I have. And that foundation is a good set of 73 millimeter cases. The cases I was running was a mixed bag. It was a mismatched set. That's what's standing up on the end right there. And that was working, only to have that, little mishap with the blowing the hole through the top. Like I said, could have been a situation was a pre-existing crack or something going on. A weak spot was found with those, whatever. But there was no problems with the mismatched cases as far as oiling. I I'll show you the bearings even. The bearings all look mint yet. But, so, those there, I'm like, okay, maybe it's time I just start buying the 0506 cases. A little more common, so to speak, a little easier to find, maybe. Price a little better, maybe. But the thing is I run all like shelf stock stuff. So without getting some kind of custom combo going on to run those cases with that bore size, I would need a different set of rods and another set of pistons. So let's just say roughly $1,000 a piece. You know, I'm $2,000 in the hole to put a motor back together with majority of other used parts. Not what I'm looking to do right now. I just want to put this motor back together with the 73 millimeter bore and use what I've been using for parts. Because every time I get ahead of the game and think I'm going to have two motors put together, something like this happens and I'm on the hunt for cases. So you know, we're all over the place. But anyways, I'm holding on to the 0506 cases because at some point I will just start upgrading everything to that. You know, different bore size, different wrist pin size, whatever. I'm not running power levels that little bit of bore size or wrist pin size is going to make a difference for me. But, so again, I'm on the hunt for cases again after that. Find some on eBay. Good price. Look good. Cylinders look great. Order them up. They show up. And I'm as I'm making this video, I'm not positive. I still have the pictures, but I'll look. Conveniently enough, he didn't send me any pictures of what the main bores looked like for all the crank main bearing journals in the cases. Cases get here, two of the main bearings were spun so bad, it basically machined material out of the cases where the bearing would sit. To the point that the oil groove in the main journals was almost gone, and they were just packed full of bearing material, and like all the copper color was all just copper flakes everywhere. And they were listed as usable, clean them up and go cases. Sent the guy a message. I'm like, dude, these cases are junk. Like they're not usable. They're not even savable. So he's like, I'll send a refund, but those cases came out of a motor that just had a trans issue. It ran fine. My reply was just, it might have ran, but it had no oil pressure. Like there was no bearing left. I couldn't imagine somebody could take cases apart like that and see the crank. The bearing, well, like the other bearings were still there. Like there's no way that he took that crank out of those cases and didn't see it. The journals were messed up. Like just some people, but whatever. He did issue a refund, so I'll give him credit on that. But it was, weirdly enough, it was some salvage bike place out of Illinois. So Illinois fuck strikes again. So, still on the hunt for cases. I know this video is just talking, right? So, still on the hunt for cases. Locally, find another guy. I put up a post on Facebook. Good, usable 73 millimeter bore cases. Like everybody knows, like I'm gonna clean these up and run them. Find a guy locally. Got a set of cases. Yeah, no big deal. I'll meet you. Cool. Sent me some pictures. Everything looked pretty decent. I go to look at them, and it literally looked like the cylinders sat with the pistons halfway down in the bore with water in them. The bores were all pitted partway down. Conveniently, the pictures didn't quite show that. Whatever. It's somebody I know. I'm just gonna chalk it up to maybe they didn't notice it or catch it or didn't totally understand what I was looking for. But I was irritated because I had cash with me, going to get good usable cases, right? Again, fucked out of time and actually a little bit of money and gas to go make that drive to meet up. But whatever, it's over and done. Back to eBay. That's what you're looking at there. I found a place on eBay I've had good luck with eBay before. So the one guy that sold me the ones with the fucked up main journals, we'll let that slide. Most of the eBay sellers are good, reputable, salvage bike dismantlers. They want good feedback and they want to, do a lot of business. They don't want, negative comments. So for the most part, they will sell you good stuff, and that's what I got here. A little bit dirty, but I'm cleaning that stuff up. But good, usable set of 03, 04, 73 millimeter cases, just like I had asked and nobody seemed to want to deliver on. Turn to eBay, somebody that I don't even know finally gets me what I need. Weird how that works. But I'll give you kind of a rundown of what I'm going on here, and then we're going to try to jump right back into videos of doing motors and whatnot, and we'll just pretend I haven't been gone for the past 3 or 4 months or whatever. So we'll flip the camera around, show you what I got going on, and hopefully by the end of this weekend I have a set of cases, possibly like a short block put together, maybe crank, pistons, rods, whatever. We'll see. But thankfully, not thankfully, conveniently, it's a cold, rainy weekend in Wisconsin again, so I got nothing but time to be in the garage this weekend. Hopefully get this done before the weather gets nice, and I would rather be outside. So I'll show you what's happening here. So here's what I'm working with. 0304, 73 millimeter, untouched, everything else. Everything's good. They're just a little bit dirty. But I've already gone through, I've done a few oil mods to these. I started scraping gasket surfaces and kind of Scotch-Brite and stuff. I decked it out with a flat plate. I got a plate here that's been surface ground flat. So I just take that and just, you can use staining fluid or Dychem, or a Sharpie, but I just color the deck black, and then I just surface it out, check for low spots. I got a couple machinist straight edges here, and we just check for low spots all around with the feeler gauge. I want to take off as minimal amount of material as possible. Mostly what I'm doing is just checking to make sure that that doesn't have low spots or high spots or any imperfections, or sometimes there'll be like little, just from shipping, and these cases are getting old, handling, shipping, whatever. Sometimes you'll find nicks or little dings, and when you surface it out, you're just making sure there's nothing, real obvious causing a problem. But I took a dingle ball hone. I'm just, like I said, I'm not looking to modify these, bore them out or do nothing. We just scratch the deck, make sure she's flat, and then we just scratch the cylinders. We just look for imperfections, and just a quick deglaze. Cases are good to go. But what I'm going to do is take these, it's raining outside right now, I'm going to take these outside with the hose and I got some in the spray bottle over there. I got some aluminum brightener. Last thing I'll do to these cases before they're ready for assembly is we'll do some aluminum brightener and get these just looking better, something closer to like these, or even like my old ones. Everything was always kind of, somewhat clean looking. They don't need to be perfect, but we'll degrime them. I got some years on them, as you can see. Just some gook. A lot of that, actually, when you get onto that side of the motor, a lot of that is just like chain lube spraying on the back of the cylinders, but whatever. The other two part of the cases, still got to clean. I've already kind of checked them out. Everything looks good. I'm happy with them. I got a few little oil mods to do to those, clean up, and then we'll do a little die grinder, deburring, just, oil mods, all part of just oil stuff. But we're going to not get overloaded here. We're going to do one piece at a time. So right now I'm going to go get these cleaned up. Told you it was raining. So anywho, I got her sprayed up with some aluminum brightener, and we'll let her sit, kind of soak for a minute. We'll rinse it off. Probably have to do this 3 or 4 times because some of that stuff is stained on there pretty good. But once I start rinsing it off, it'll start looking a little better. And then the last thing I'll do is I'll spritz it with just some like Simple Green, or you could use Super Clean too if you wanted. Either one. And then we'll just hose, spray it with that, let it sit, hose it off. That'll kind of, rinse off any of the leftover like acidy kind of etching stuff we're using. So we'll see how she looks when she's hosed off here. Update 1. Last you saw this was in the driveway getting hosed off. Those cases are cleaned up and, deburred and everything kind of want to do to those, ready to go. Bearings are in there, crank is sitting in there, everything's dry. I'm going to double check clearances here. Bottom half of the main bearings are still in here. I took these out. These are also in the driveway getting cleaned up. Everything's looking pretty good. I'm out of brake clean though, because as much as I like to use the solvent tank to get the gunk out of it, stuff just seems to kind of hang around. I like using brake clean and then blow dry everything, and then it's dry. And I got one more set of the third piece of the cases, the bottom third, to get that cleaned up yet. That I think we might focus on for tomorrow. for now, I'm going to make a run to get some brake clean and some food possibly. And we're going to come back and we're going to continue going through and checking clearances again, and we'll see where we stand. So for now, I think my goal for tonight might be to just get the crank in. We'll worry about rods and pistons for tomorrow. I got a bunch of bearings in stock, so I should be able to get the crank set up how I want it tonight. And then we'll worry about rods and pistons tomorrow. But for now, I gotta make a run. So I'm back from the parts store run, getting brake clean and getting set to basically hose those cases off. And then I'll put them up on the bench, double check everything, make sure there's no I like going through and deburring cases, looking for like hard edges or, sometimes there's little casting crumbs and shit that stick to things. But we'll just give them a once over, and then we'll start fitting it on the other half of the cases over there. And then I got to take that crank out so I can actually measure the bores of the cases. But I was double checking thrust bearing stuff, whatever, no biggie. But yeah, we'll get going on getting these cleaned up, get them inspected, and then we'll see how much farther we get. Would you just look at it? And there it gets old. So I'm pretty happy with where we're at. I have a good set of cases, and I have a crankshaft back in a set of cases, ready to start doing rods and pistons now. Funny story is I put these cases together with the bearing halves that were all in those cases from when this crank was in those cases. That motor didn't run a whole bunch, and put them in, started measuring stuff up, and I ended up with clearances exactly where I wanted them to be. So it's borderline comical how this shit works sometimes when you're only dealing with, minimal tolerancing from, low end to high end kind of, targets that you're shooting for. But I'm happy with that. That is the bottom half or bottom third of those old cases. Technically I could put that on there and run that, be fine, but I'm going to keep these cases as a 3-piece set because these ones I'm running here with that bottom, that's a 3-piece match set, that's a 3-piece match set. I think what I'm going to do is, because those cylinders are damaged, I think that might be a good candidate to send those out for possibly like a sleeving deal in the future. We'll see. Be kind of a worst case scenario that I need to salvage something because of my luck with getting cases these days and people not understanding what I want or need. I'm going to keep all my bad stuff even because at some point it might be all I have. But for now, I'm starting to get tired. It's been a long time since I've done videos and done work at the same time. I'm wore out because that was a lot of, measuring and fitting and I'm tired. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip that right side up, and then I might just tinker with some miscellaneous, like I got parts to clean for days yet, and maybe I'll start scraping gaskets on there, watch a little TV, but I'm going to kind of wind down for the night and call it quits relatively soon here. So hopefully now that I actually have, a job I don't hate, so I got some ambition again. Weather's getting nice. It's going to be garage doors open, working on stuff in the evenings kind of days again coming up here. And hopefully I can start doing some more regular videos again. I say it all the time, but it's hard, man. Life just fucking gets in the way sometimes and get sidetracked with stuff. But it's not for a shortage of things to do. It's been a shortage of motivation and time a little bit. But yeah, got a motor started. I got 2 cylinder heads there that I'm welding up and repairing. One of them will end up on this motor. and we'll keep pushing forward. This is only Friday. I got 2 more days to get stuff done out here. So hey, who knows? Maybe there'll be another video this weekend yet. So thanks for watching. See you around.